landed on planet 412. I'll be your captain of sorts as we navigate this strange, cryptid-filled world. Join me on the quest for truth, through the strange, mysterious, and supernatural. This is Planet 412. And welcome to our Supernatural Town Hall session tonight. We have a guest host tonight. I think we're still waiting for Andrew Christie, but I am Matt Emsch. Obviously, you guys know me from Planet 412. We have JC, one half of the Sasquatchers Paranormal Podcast. We have Joe Breezy, who a lot of you know. And Joe, would you like to tell everyone the name of your show?
You can just look me up Joe Breezy channel. That's the best I do. There's a bunch of them though now. It's weird. Whenever I invented my stage name, there's nobody was named that. Now there's like hundreds of them.
So check out Joe. Joe has been a guest on many shows. He's been a guest on mine. He's been around everywhere. I wanted to real quick say hello to everybody in the chat. I see Madeline Chap. I see Numa462. I see Samurai Sean, Mr. Duffy 81. I saw Pamela Stefanich. Hello to everybody. I wanted to thank real quick all of my members and my Patreon member as of right now. Pamela Stefanich is my first, as of last week, Patreon member. So I'm trying to get people to jump on over there. Thank you to all of my members as well. And, I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. So I am going to let JC take from here and say hello to everyone. And let us know what's going on with you.
Hola, bonjour. It's JC from one half of the Sasquatchers. I appreciate everybody being on here. I love interacting with the chat, so keep it up. Fire at me. Let's keep talking. As usual, we have a new episode out every Monday, and on Fridays at 11 a.m. we have the Sasquatchers Presents Far Out Folklore. It's just a couple minute video, so make sure you check it out.
And for Joe, I wanted to show you, in your honor, I wore one of the shirts you sent me. I love it. It's nice and soft. And yeah, so did you want to let anybody know, Joe, what's going on with your channel? Maybe some upcoming episodes, some they've missed?
Yeah, well, actually, I just incorporated a good friend of mine. He's basically a brother of mine, but he's doing documentaries on paranormal hotspots. And so I think it's going to be pretty much every Saturday he's going to be on there, and we're going to be doing pieces that are in local Texas spots. And also he goes outside of Texas a lot of times. He does Utah and all the weird high strange spots. So we're going to be touching down on a lot of those pretty soon. So it's going to be up and coming. But it's going down.
So I look forward to it. I like your stuff. You've always done a good job. Same with Sasquatchers. Everybody, do us a favor before we start here. If you're in the chat, you better make sure, please, for us. We've had a great run here. Hit that like button. Also, hit the like and subscribe button for Sasquatchers Paranormal Podcast from my main man, Joe Breezy on his channel, Planet 412. But tonight you're here for the paranormal town hall, or supernatural town hall session. I'm sorry. I saw paranormal behind you, JC, so I read that. So it looks good too. So everybody, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're here in the chat, hit it. Take a quick sec to do it. People pop in, please let them know to hit it. And tonight we have a subject, obviously, very close to my chest. We did a poll, as always, to decide what we were going to discuss tonight, and overwhelmingly, I mean, it wasn't even close. It was like in the 80 percentile, I believe. Dogman won the talk tonight. So that's what we're going to be discussing this evening. Just to start it off, I mean, obviously, if anybody doesn't know about me, I am Matt Emsch. I had the Youngstown, Ohio steel mill dogman experience. A lot of people actually refer, "Oh, you're the Youngstown dogman guy." I'm like, if you want to call me that, that will work with the channel, but I have a name. And what happened is me and four of my friends were basically chased and almost killed by a dogman down in the steel mills of Youngstown, Ohio, and that's definitely something that I'm schooled on. How about you guys? Is that something that you guys are familiar with in any way, shape, or form?
I have 3 dogs. I mean, I think my neighbors probably nicknamed me the dog man, right? No, I've never had an encounter like this, and to be honest, yours was one of the first ones that I'd heard like firsthand, aside from reading it. So I don't know, maybe you want to do like a high level run through of your experience, Matt?
Sure. Joe, have you? I mean, I know you're familiar with Dogman, so I don't even need to really get into that with you.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. But
being down in Texas.
Yeah, it's weird when the closest I've come to it personally is back when I was going to go to Josh Turner's conference. I was talking to my mom, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to this Bigfoot Dogman conference, yada yada yada. And she's like, Dogman. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, so I started describing it to her. I was like, they're big, like a werewolf looking thing, about 8 foot. And she's like, I've seen one of those. She's like, we were driving through to Fort Worth, back in this had to have been the 80s. And she was like, yeah, and one was running alongside the van. We all saw it. There was like 8 of us in the van, and we all saw it. And I was like, wow, crazy. Mom said a dog experience.
Wow. And you told me about that before, and that blew my mind when you told me. And the fact that, like mine, which I'll tell everybody real quick, an abridged version here in 1 second. There were more people around, so they saw it, and there were 4 with me, so me and 3 friends. So it wasn't hallucinating. It wasn't, people having fun and maybe saying things. So your situation with your mom, I mean, you had other people there. That's always a plus. So real quick, guys, I just remembered new emojis in the chat. In fact, the one dog man, and those of you that are in the chat that I said hello, I have a picture of a dog man that's basically roaring, and that is Sibylla Irwin from Sketching Encounters. That's her graphic artist rendering of what I saw with my friends. So that right there, that emoji that I just used in the chat is what I basically saw with my buddies. That she did a great job, and please check her out as well. So letting everybody know, again, real quick, I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. We used to frequent the steel mills, the old steel mills down in downtown Youngstown. Youngstown used to be a big steel making industry town, and when steel fell out in the U.S., it was really hurt by that. So, long story short, you have used to have miles of abandoned, dilapidated buildings down there. And me and my friends, instead of going to parks or anything, we went down in the steel mills in downtown Youngstown and went around and just investigated. And we found this one area that it was called the Jeanette Blast Furnace. And there's actually a video on YouTube of them demolishing it in 1997. I had somebody question, what happened to me. He's like, "Oh, I don't think it lines up the years of what happened to you. I believe that place was probably demolished." Well, actually, he was wrong. It was in 1997, and again, it's on YouTube. You can actually put in the search Jeanette, Jeanette, blast furnace, Youngstown, Ohio, and there's a video. It shows the place, shows it being taken down. And we liked hanging out there. One night we were hanging out, we had a fire inside the building, and they had some wild dogs that frequent in the area, and we went outside, we heard them. Long story short, something got in a fight with them out of our sight. And after some of them getting pretty banged up, a giant wolf creature came crawling up to the top of a hill. And when my friend gave our position away by falling into something, it saw us. And it was, I'll use what I've used in every interview. It was so big, it looked fake. It was gigantic. It was on all fours. It roared at us, and we had effects physically felt. It used infrasound on us. All four of us were affected. After that, it stood up and doubled its size. It had glowing eyes, just like in that emoji. They were like an amber orange, and it was probably between 10 and 12 feet high, somewhere in between there. And we figured it out from going back years later inside the building. They had concrete pillars that I liked it. Look at the puppies. You're definitely a dog man there.
I had to post my Dogman picture.
That's awesome. Look at you as Santa. You're a very clean cut Santa right there. Yeah, definitely not the dogs that I saw. There were other ones running around like that, but this thing had glowing amber eyes, and we went back into the building. We fell over each other basically from the effects of this infrasound. And when we were hiding in the building, this thing came in, and it was looking for us. It did some supernatural types of things. Its front left arm, when it walked by the fire, cloaked out like the predator. The fire actually kind of pulled out and was surrounding its arm. It went back to normal after 3 seconds. The fire went shot back to where the fire was. And aside from the glowing eyes, they were so bright when it went past the dark wall, it was sniffing the air like that. And when it turned its head and sniffed, the eyes actually lit the far wall up. So you could see that this was not eye shine. This was some kind of energy source of whatever coming from internally from this thing. And it was very bright. Um, it finally was sniffing around, and it caught our scent. We were on the third floor looking down. The center of these rooms were cut out. We had a half wall in front of us, and we were looking down, watching this thing walk around looking for us. When it caught our scent, it looked up, it stood up back again on two legs. And, you know, I kind of ran past that just to let you all know real quick. You know, before then, yeah, we're looking at a gigantic wolf. We were just like, oh my God, I mean, we could have later explained maybe it was a bear or something like that. But when this thing stood up on two legs, me, my other three friends talked about it for years. Two were actually passed away, God rest their soul. All of us had the walls of reality shatter. We had up till that point, just like all of you guys, been taught werewolves, and that's the only name we knew. Werewolves don't exist. They're just myths. They're only in comic books and movies and stuff like that. And it was standing in front of us. It wasn't a dream. And it stood up again inside and roared at us. It did not affect us the second time, we believe. That the concrete that was around us in front of us with the half wall blocked it. And I'll get to that almost cannon in a minute. And this thing actually ran up the stairs and at one point got 5, 6 feet from me and was about to kill me. Literally, my two other friends ran outside on the roof. We couldn't get out. The fire escape was broken, so you could only go up. You couldn't go down the stairs because it was coming up. So me and my best friend were standing there. It ran up. It was 5, 6 feet from me, about to pounce. And a train came by the building and laid on their horn, we believe, because of the fire. And it ended up leaving the building. Before it left the building, it ended up changing shape on the last flight of stairs from an actual physical creature to basically an amorphous black mass, like a shadow. You saw a couple points on the upper part of the shadow, which were ears. I assume that obviously where the ears used to be. It looked, you could tell where the muzzle used to be, and underneath was not touching the ground. There were four little, almost like peg long, like just things jutting out where the legs used to be. And within a split second, like if you take a flashlight and wave it on the wall, that's how fast this thing left the building. We were lucky to get out of there with our lives. We believe there was, there was intervention by God, and I will take that to my grave. There was divine intervention. And that is basically the extremely short version of what happened to us. Almost Cannon asked, what if the Mafia in Youngstown used these dogmen as guards or some sort? I would like to see how they would be able to get what role, because I'm going to tell you this, and then I'll let you guys comment if you want. This thing, without a doubt, had to be, you hear people talk about experiences with Sasquatch and other beings, like Sasquatch, alphas, you hear about those super big ones. This, no doubt, for sure, 100% had to be an alpha. There's no way that this was just, you hear some stories of people being in the woods and seeing a dog man, and it's like 6 feet tall, like a person, and not real big. And this was not the case. This also had no natural aspect. In my opinion, this was something from another dimension, another realm, maybe a hellhound. I don't know. It was not from this reality. So that's what happened. That's my belief, guys. Anybody want to comment on that at least? You don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, when you said the alpha thing, that does make sense because if I remember correctly, didn't it like fire hose urinate outside on the? So it was like,
Yep.
it was, look, I'm in charge here. This is my spot.
Gary, thank you for my. I just wanted to make it quick. What Joe, if anybody has never heard about it, what this thing did real quick is, after it fought with these packs of dogs, they ran away, and it was looking at them. It didn't know we were there. It lifted its leg, and number one showed us it was a boy, a male, and a big male, and it marked its territory for all intents and purposes, and that is a sign of an alpha reaction. JC?
When I was younger, my great grandmother had a story about the Hound of the Woods, right? And it comes from Nordic folklore thing, from Sweden. That was where that side of my family was from. So at night you would hear the howl of the hund being the dog, the wolf. And we were told to stay away from the woods. Don't go too deep in the woods because the hund would get you. It makes you really think, were those just wild dogs or wolves, or was it potentially the wolfman? Was it something greater? Because yeah, wolves are scary, right? You get mixed in with a pack of wolves, probably not a good time. But the way that it was always described to me as a kid was the hund, the singular, not a pack, not all these wolves. It was the hund. So you know, ever since then, I've been scared to death of woods, even though I walk in them all the time. I live around the woods. I just always keep that in the back of my head, the things that like my great grandmother told me, 20 years ago, don't go out in the woods. The Huns out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that would do it for me as well. I, however, grew up on the north side of Youngstown in the city. So it was watch out for, rabid dogs or whatnot. But looking back, I don't know if anybody remembers. I can't remember the name of the story, but Theodore Roosevelt, was it Roosevelt who went, he was a great hunter back in the day, Teddy Roosevelt, and he talked about um, in his memoirs about them hunting and doing all. And hello to Jen, Joe Breezy's wife there. Tell her I said hi. And basically, what happened is he told a story in these memoirs that had nothing to do with hunting or anything. It had to do with uh, him and, or not him, an old man. I forget the old man's name, but this old trapper hunter and another had a camp and they were attacked by something. A lot of people believe it was a Sasquatch. I don't. If you listen to the specifics of this, when this creature had attacked this camp where this gentleman and his fellow hunter had stayed, what occurred was his neck was broken and he was attacked and tore up. But if you look at the specifics, there were two fang marks on his neck. And they never specifically, mention in those memoirs, or the gentleman that said, never said specifically it was an ape. It just was a giant kind of, animal creature and giant one. And I've never heard of Sasquatch biting the neck or anything, but in my, idea, in my mind, I think it very well could have been a dogman.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good to see you. JC,
Hello.
do you have any comment about that one there?
I mean, are we pushing like lichen territory here, or to blood sucking? We could run the gambit as far as like dogmen, wolfmen, vampiric activity goes, because there are stories that go all. I mean, you go back to ancient Sumeria, and there are stories of,
Yeah.
I guess what you want to call lichens, right? Like these wolf-like creatures that were vampiric. I mean, I think there's always that what if possibility in the woods, or even, I mean, like you didn't even encounter them in the woods. You encountered them out in the, what was it, the steel mill of Youngstown. I mean, yeah. And these aren't just normal creatures. I mean, a dog from a dog, or a wolf, even a wolf from a wolf, right? Like I think a lot of people have seen wolves in the wild or even in captivity. We know what a wolf looks like. So to see a creature that is got the strength, the power, the metaphysical state that a dogman might have is, way out there compared to anything that most people have ever heard or maybe would even consider in the realm of paranormal, especially compared to like Bigfoot and stuff. Like we report Bigfoot a couple hundred times a year, right? But how many dogman sightings are there a year?
There's
not necessarily not a whole lot though.
Not like Bigfoot. I agree with you, but the North American Dogman Project actually is trying to become another like BFRO out there. So they're starting to keep track of these sightings and things like that. They're doing a good job. Jody Cook and a kid named Kenny Thibodeau are doing a decent job with that one. I wanted to mention real quick, and Joe, I'll come to you. My wife always mentions, looking at werewolves and wolves, and the word lupus or lupine, and I have lupus. So she goes, that's so weird that lupus is part of that and mentioned. I agree with her, but going back, you were going historic. if you go back all the way to St. Christopher, he talks about coming to an island of dog-headed beings, the Cenocephali. And I mean, that goes back to biblical times, all the way back there. And they even have pictures of these beings. In fact, one painting, a famous one where this one was, I don't know if it was knighted or something, but there's some really cool pictures and paintings of it. Joe?
Yeah, actually, St. Christopher himself was 7 foot tall and had the head of a dog. And you can literally Google images of St. Christopher and it'll pop up. So yeah, and that's why he's like the saint of travel, because he was tall enough to carry a little girl got caught on the other side of the river and he carried her on his shoulders because he could actually walk through the water. Yeah, but I mean, to me, because you got that, and then you also have like JC was saying, like Sumerian lore, and you also have Egyptian images of the hybrid beings, the dog-headed people. But to me, I don't know if I combine them into the same thing. Yes, they do have the dog features of the dog head. They are extremely tall, but those seem more humanistic, compared to what a lot of the accounts of seeing dogmen, especially in Southern America. So it's like Texas area. I mean, they're more beasts than they are man, I guess is the best way you could say it.
Very good. I agree.
Yeah, because I mean, but then again, it's the same kind of thing. You also have like the Patty type of Bigfoot, right? And then you have the savage Bigfoot that's just beast on beast. It's not like oh, hey, what's going on, man? It's not like a calm, it's an
you have the Gugway, which are the face eaters, which are considered, some people even wonder if some dogmen sightings might be a Gugway because they supposedly have a short snout and things like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, in the end, we're all just, throwing darts, but, yeah, I mean, and then there's also the aspect of whether or not, if they are interdimensional, then if they start, the longer they stay in this dimension, the more they start becoming a part of flesh and blood versus a what do you call it? Versus a entity,
supernatural.
Like they're not able to phase in and out and all that. They start, they start adapting to.
Agreed. And you have your two camps, just like there are for Sasquatch. You hear a lot of people say, well, no, that's a physical being. It's just, really well hidden in there. And let's see here. Thank you, Twirl Pros. And we appreciate it. Thank you for being a member. And, with the Sasquatch, the thought process, you get a lot of arguments these days of natural, just some missing link ape, or is there, people that jump in the camp, which I am in, that some, not all, or maybe it's an age thing, who knows the specifics, you get the woo. And the same thing you hear a lot of with dogmen. You hear, just natural types of beings, where some people have said that they've shown no supernatural type of anything. They're smaller, more human shaped. They don't run on all fours. But then when you get into that other side of things with the woo, like what I saw, you're hearing, exchanging from, 4 legs to 2, just as happy either on each. You hear things about them standing up and the popping going on, and other things like one girl. And I wanted to mention real quick, who's helped this subject immensely, God rest her soul, was Linda Godfrey, who is a legend in the Dogman community. She wrote the book The Beast of Bray Road in 2003. She was a reporter that lived in that area and got calls and things like that about people seeing a werewolf. And I remember she had went to first she got it thrown on her desk. Somebody didn't want to touch it, so she did, and she had no idea it was going to explode the way it did. So many people started writing into the newspaper. They were blown away. She, at one point, when she was investigating about these sightings, had went to a city engineer or the guy in charge of animal control, and he actually had a folder that was written werewolf. And a funny woo side of it, this guy's on camera along with her before she passed away. I think it was on Monster Quest when she went in and she was talking to this official as they were talking about werewolves. The folder and some books that had to do with the subject came flying off the shelf. They both witnessed this, and again, it's on Monster Quest. So she has really, started a lot for a lot of people. I, in my research, definitely fall back on Linda Godfrey, and the things that she found out, and she gave a lot of credence and a lot of, realistic types of thoughts to these things instead of people joking about it. It's in the paper, they're being serious about it, which brought us to this day right now. And you look at what goes on in Wisconsin, in the Bray Road. And there was a girl, I'll mention this one real quick, and then one of you guys can take it. Teenage girl was at a summer camp. I think it was in the 80s or the 90s. She noticed from across the lake that there was a dog man watching the kids. She, like somebody out of a horror movie, the next night doing exactly what nobody in their right mind would do. She went and snuck out of the area they were sleeping and was by herself, crossed over to the other side of the lake, and went into this area where this creature she saw, again, only in a movie you usually hear this. She went over and she did not see the actual dog man. Actually, what she saw was a basketball sized sphere of red light. She saw a red orb, and she said it started moving and she started walking after it. Well, not long after she was walking after it, said she stepped onto a stick, snap. Said this thing stopped and like just rotated, almost like somebody turning and looking. And she said it gave her the impression that it was looking at her, it had thought going on, and it was not just some light floating through the woods. And once it noticed her, it turned and gone. And it makes a lot of people, I've had this discussion, a lot of other people have had this discussion about, you know, are always dogmen, or are they something else? Like maybe that orb of light could be its real, shape and the being that it is, and it uses whatever means that it can to transform into, I don't know, maybe one of the worst nightmares you could ever see in a human being's mind. So I just found that interesting that that thing was over there instead of the physical side of it. JC?
So to go back on what you're saying, what if these Bigfoot sightings aren't all just Bigfoot? What if all these Dogman sightings aren't just Dogman? What if any of these sightings are just maybe entities, people, energy from the past or future trying to communicate with us? Right? And this is the only way they can express themselves, through things like animals that we already know exist. I think one of the more interesting past observations about the Dogman comes from the Greek. There was a traveler in Greece. His name was Megathenis, and he found an entire island with what he described a race of xenophiliac beings. So basically humans with dog heads, right? This entire island.
Yep.
This Greek dude just running around the countryside stumbles upon, holy shit, here's a bunch of dogmen.
Yep.
You know, like, what do you and
that too.
Yeah, and like it, I mean, we can look back at the past and be like, oh well, he was substituting this with this, but the Greeks were well traveled, along with the Turks and a lot of the Sumerians. Like, the world was not an enigma to them. They knew about other cultures, they knew about other people. To stumble upon what you would describe as people with dog heads is a bit profound to me. Even this, like, what, 2,500 years later, like, that's weird, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of that has been smashed over the years. I mean, that's not like a regular, story you hear through history.
No, it was a
It's
one-time
something
story.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for where we are today with technology, social media, people like us covering the subjects that we do, that would be something that would be lost to history. And it's just mind blowing. I'm gonna since Joe hasn't talked in a while, Joe, I'm gonna let you. And I love what you brought up, JC. By the way, thank you. I'll let you answer this one, Joe. Give us your opinion. Carol asks, I wonder if Dogman are evolved werewolves that over many years lose the human aspect. What's your thought?
I mean, yeah, it's a definite possibility. I mean, because if you're talking, well, then you get into shapeshifters, and the lichen side of it. So yeah, I mean, if they are a supernatural being that can actually change and adjust itself, like what I was saying earlier, if they stay in our realm long enough, then they start losing the ability to be able to shapeshift and adjust. But then also you got to take into the account like what JC was talking about. But there's the whole Nephilim side of it too, or if these are demonic pieces that subjugate themselves into a form that is literally meant to strike fear within us. Because so if you're primitive, caveman or primitive individual, one of the biggest threats that you actually have is wolves and dogs, because they run in packs. I mean, the same reason why people openly hunt coyotes, because they're packs of dogs. So if you do go back to that aspect of it, of a primordial fear driven identity, then going back to like what Matt was saying about the orbs, yeah, if it manifests itself, what's supposed to strike fear into a person's heart. And then you can be talking anything all the way to like energy vampires, because if that's what it's trying to do, is strike fear into you and try to drive and feed off of your fear, then yeah, you'd absolutely identify yourself as something that would terrify another individual. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, I when it comes to all the cryptid stuff, and I hate the word cryptid, but let's say the inhumanoid stuff. There's so many different links that link them all together, and there's so many ideologies and fascinations about it. But the truth is, we're all still trying to find the truth. Like I personally subscribe to the fact that the Nephilim were the fallen, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and that they were also the cherubim. So, and they had the four faces: the face of the human, the face of the ox, the face of the lion, and and the face of the eagle. So there you get encompassed into it. So whenever they came and the fallen angels mated with women, that was not of creation's purpose. So it wasn't part of God's plan. So those entities that came after it, they didn't have a soul that literally goes to heaven or goes to hell or whatever. It wasn't part of the thing. So I believe that those ghosts, whatever you call it, the entities that sprung from that, they take shape and form in those same images. Because it's really creepy how that kind of all aligns. You know what I mean? Because you got thunder, you got thunderbirds, you got your animals, domestic and wild. So it's like that encompasses a lot of what we see. Even all the way like someone was saying in the chat earlier, even like the Fae. It just I think it encompasses it all if you look at it from that aspect.
Very good. Thank you, Joe. I like that one. And talking about real quick before I answer this question from Sunny Cat 85, and I'm getting to you guys, the rest of you, talking about, the fear. You hear a lot of people talking about, like, just with animals in general, people want to maybe scare animals before they kill them. They say it makes the meat taste better. You hear stories about aliens, maybe, the ones like, for instance, some of the stories of people being taken and killed by aliens, and they we could go deep on this, but I think JC, we talked about this before. Some of the stories that they take some of the human chemicals that the brain gives off in fear, and they get high off of. Yeah, so that could be. Do we know? Go ahead, JC. You answer.
I was just to say, I really like Joe's point about the primordial fear of death and doom. That's what drives us to live, right? Like, afraid of death. We're all afraid of death. Even if you say you aren't, you're scared of dying.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Back in the, back before we had like prime technology, before we had all this computers and all this stuff, like, your defenses were your friends, like some spears, and you were packed up against like 15 wolves in the forest, light a fire and see who lives, right? That's what it was. I mean, as much as I boil it down to that small thing, that's what it was. And over time, we domesticated some of those wolves, and now we have Chihuahuas, which are probably arguably worse than the wolves that were out in the forest, right?
Yeah. You put me up against the 8-foot Chihuahua.
If I see an 8-foot Chihuahua, I'm out, man. The only thing that makes it tolerable is that they're so small. If they're big, I'm done.
Right. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, I had, just to let you, I had a Lhasa Apso when I was really little. Our family did. It was given to us by friends of ours that moved to another state. We're like, I wonder why they're giving us their dog. Well, it was our first dog ever. Here we find out, first of all, and God rest the poor dog's soul, the meanest non-children. We find out Lhasa Apso is the worst dog you could get for a family. This dog bit everybody. If you tried to pet her, she would bite you. She was the meanest dog on the planet, and that's how we figured out that's why they gave us their dog, because she was vicious. So I agree with you, and that makes sense. Again, if you have that story of that one girl, and it was in the Bray Road area in Wisconsin, that she saw this orb what if that being is basically subscribing to that, let me reach in there deep and see what primordially and subconsciously in these advanced apes scares them the most. And okay, they're afraid of
Right.
going all the way back to Neanderthals, worrying about packs of wolves or other large predators and things like that. So that does make sense. And even just feeding off of the fear. I remembered at one point during my experience, my buddies thought I was wrong, but I could have swore at one point this thing smiled at us. They thought it was just a big, sneer or whatever you call it. I swear it looked at us and smiled. Um, but I'm sorry, Sunny Cat. Do you guys know of any encounters in Florida? There's one from North Point, Florida. I'll read it for you real quick because you asked. It's super short. From North Point, Florida, we have a 12-mile reserve called Carlton Reserve. I was out there messing around with some friends. They went off ahead of me to go mudding, and this was sent to me. I was at a tree line taking a leak in the marshy field in front of me. I noticed a figure in the field. He was very coyote like. He was tannish gray in color and very lanky and tall. He was crouched over eating a boar, which are mean, hard animals to kill, even if you shoot them. As I did, his ears perked up, and I realized what I was looking at. He must not have seen me because he looked around for a little and then continued to eat. The whole encounter lasted about 5 minutes. I'm not sure what I saw, but it was something I have never seen before, and I've been living here for 16 years, my whole life. So, there, Sunny Cat, is your comment. I'm going to go next to Tammy Truthwalker. This isn't just about Dogman, but what makes the eyes literally glow. That's been Tammy, and that's a great question. That's been a question of mine since I was a little kid when I was 14. We've been wondering, and I've been wondering my entire life, what the heck caused those eyes to glow so bright. Again, anybody that just came in that may not know me about my experience in Youngstown, Ohio steel mills. I was with me and my friends attacked by a dog man. Its eyes were glowing amber, orange, yellowish, kind of. It was changing color, but it was like amber orange, very much like what's behind JC, his Sasquatchers Paranormal Podcast words. That's the color, basically. JC's like, wait a minute, there's one behind me. But yeah, if you look down beneath the paranormal letter, you see there's something just next to JC's right arm. It gets bright at the top part of it. That's how the eyes look, and they emanated such brightness. Yes, thank you. That again, it went past the wall and it lit part of the wall up. I don't know, Tammy. I don't have an answer. That's why I'm saying I always talk about there were four things that happened that were supernatural or they were woo woo ish. I say woo woo ish. Um, Something internal inside of that being was causing those eyes to glow that color and emanate that color. I would love to know what it was. I don't know if anybody has an answer for that. Guesses, guys? JC, do you have a guess?
Spectral energy? I mean,
That's actually a decent answer. It could be.
That's
Joe?
about. I mean, that's my answer to pretty much anything that gives off a glow, right?
Right.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, that's what I would think. I think at that stage, it's if you're talking illumination itself, then you're talking spiritual energy or supernatural energy. You're not talking natural, flesh and blood, uh, type of a thing. You're you're getting into the fact that it's more ghostly, I guess you could say, or supernatural, and because to illuminate, just like it would be for like a ghost to present itself, to where you can see it, to manifestation, right? So light manifestation, as far as being able to produce that energy, has to come from an energy source, and that energy source obviously isn't natural by claim. It's got to be something from beyond. I mean, I know that there are like bioluminescence enzyme. Yeah, there are natural things that do glow, but that's usually for the purpose that it.
Yeah, like under the
Right, but
water.
that's usually for the purpose that its environment creates. So, like, if you're talking bioluminescence way deep down in the ocean, it's because of the you don't need bioluminescence in Texas. But in the deep ocean, yeah, you do. so it can be a natural thing, but I just don't see it for that aspect. And plus, you're not talking about like a fish that gives off, or an algae that gives off bioluminescence. You're talking about something that's actually.
Yeah, and this thing's got it's got blood. I would assume it might not have through it, but I mean, it's a being that looks like, if you could hurt it, has blood running through it. I question that. Half of me thinks that, and half of it, something is going through it, keeping it rolling. Is that energy, that light coming from its eyes, what is keeping that thing alive? Again, did the thing that we saw, what I saw, after we left and took off from the train noise, did it turn into an amber orange sphere and go through a portal into another dimension? I don't know.
What if that energy is the penultimate culmination of all of our fears, and that's what it's thriving on?
Yeah,
that's an excellent
What
comment.
if we're ruminating its energy just by being scared of it, right?
Right. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, or yeah, because and also that amber color is, like you were describing, is like fire. So and that's a primitive fear as well within ourselves. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it could be, and I literally wouldn't kick it out of bed to call it, like I was saying earlier, like an energy vampire, something that feeds off of your fear, feeds off of the energy, reciprocates that energy, and then produces it outwards to manifest itself into whatever will still keep reproducing that energy. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm on that.
Dead point. I had a brain fart.
No, I'm on that same page because, like you said, we all have fires outside, right? Like, we've contained fires, but what is another fear? Your house catching on fire, burning down, you stuck in the fire. Like, that's a legitimate fear. Like, I fear that myself. That's a legitimate fear, along with the wolves, the spears, the things like that. These are all humanistic fears that we kind of ruminate just through like our own energies in that, right?
Right. Yeah, and
so
it's primitive also. Like, when the first caveman, remember 2001 Space Odyssey when they discovered fire, it's like, ooh, like that was one of the original oh shit moments.
If I was the guy that discovered fire, I would have capitalized on that. I would have sold it.
Right.
I mean, like, stone, wood.
Charles comment back up real quick. I apologize to Charles. I did not see the question. So he had asked for all of us, Matt and panel. How do you feel about hive mind idea that a pack can at least sense who you are enough to ID you, mess with one, and all will know you type of thing. I completely can believe that that is possible with packs of anything, especially if they're of the supernatural sort. You even hear about twins who are able to transfer, like, experiences between twins, like dreams happen and they have the same dream. Or you have heard from twins. I knew two twins in high school, and one had got hurt real bad. She was in a different state, and the other one felt the horrible pain in her ankle. Her sister had broke her ankle, and she all day she was like, "Oh my God, my ankle!" She said, "I felt the pain. I didn't even know what happened." And when I found out my sister broke her ankle, like, we were in awe that I was in that much pain, and it was the exact same ankle. And so I can believe in that hive mind uh, type of ability happening, especially again with something in the supernatural realm.
Yeah, I mean, that it's like Corsican Brothers, if y'all remember that old Cheech and Chong movie. But no, that's I think somewhere in the ether, we're all connected, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So it's not like a direct thing. It's not like it's more of an enclosure amongst humanity, right? So we all have, like we were talking earlier about the fear of death. They say that the two biggest fears people have is public speaking and death. And but it's a commonality. It's a commonality it's an unspoken commonality. So what carries that from me to someone in Zimbabwe? You know what I mean? Like, how are we both scared of the same thing? So there has to be, some kind of ribbon, spiritual ribbon between all of us that makes us crave and fear and love and hate the same things.
Mm-hmm.
I was going the same direction with the ribbon, actually.
Good job.
So we're on the same ribbon here, apparently.
Yeah.
But that's true, because like if you really drill it all down, we're all like Joe said, we're all afraid pretty much of the same things, right? We all love essentially the same things. There's differences between cultures, but for the most part,
slight differences.
Slight differences, but for the most part, like, we all enjoy the same things. I mean, who doesn't like to gather around a fire and cook a steak, right? Like, everybody loves that.
Right.
That's universal.
Right.
Also, universal is being scared to death of death. Throughout time, people have tried to quantify death and how can we avoid it? How can we make it better? And it just doesn't work like that. So that ribbon that ties us all together, I think that ribbon that ties us all together can also be exploited.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I think there's entities that can exploit that ribbon too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And use it to their advantage.
Answer a question here real quick, guys. Baby girl asked, and do dogmen use mind speak? So I'm going to tell one quick, I'll make it an abridged version. About 7 months ago, maybe a little, it's about 7 months ago. I was at my house that I live in now, the one I'm sitting in, and I went into my backyard. I thought I was awake. I was dreaming, but this was the most ultra realistic dream I'd ever had in my life to date. You know how you have dreams, guys, and in your dream you're like, I'm at home, but you're not at your house, but in your dream it. So it was my house. It was my backyard. I had heard something. We have woods behind the house. We have a chain link fence. I went up to the chain link fence. I had heard something in the woods, and I was attacked by something. I was thrown on my back. The wind was literally knocked out of me. I felt it. I had trouble breathing. Something was on top of me. It had ripped my right pant leg off, which is my leg with the prosthetic. Something then, as I'm watching, gets at the prosthetic, puts it in its mouth, and throws it with its mouth and neck. It snaps it, throws it into the woods. This thing crawls up on top of me and puts its head, I mean, literally that close to me. It was the exact thing that we saw when I was 14, 100% the exact creature. The eyes were glowing. It smelled, I even smelled in this. I call it a dreamscape dream. I've had a lot of people write to me, tell me it wasn't a dream, it was something else. I'm leaning that way. I had smelled it, smelled like a farm animal, like a cow or a horse, and it even dripped saliva in my mouth, the corner of my mouth. I even tasted it in my dream, like a salty. I usually gag when I say that, but it was like a saltiness. And then it did not move its mouth. It looked at me with its eyes. It was looking right in my eyes, and a synthesized kind of weird, trippy, deep, growly voice came, and it was in my head, and it said, I came for you all those years ago. You speak of me too much. I will see you soon. And bam, I woke up. I was breathing hard. My shirt was like someone poured a glass of water over the front. I was soaking wet, sweating. My dog Hadley, our little dog, was up. It was 3, 4 in the morning. She had her paws on both of my legs. Her ears were back. Her tail was so between her legs. I remember looking down at her, and you could see it like up by her belly. It was curled all the way up, and she was whining. They say dogs know when supernatural events are occurring and something strange is going on. She was crying. She doesn't have this behavior. That's the only time she's ever done something like this. And I 100% believe that it happened and it was real. And we have Rye joining us. Hello. How
Hey
are you,
everyone.
sir?
No, get him, block him. No,
I
we're
made
outta
it.
here.
I made it.
Nope,
I
nope,
just finished
I'm cutting him.
Yeah, that's it. I'm out. Sorry, I just finished an interview and good to go.
Good to
So
go.
that was my dreamscape.
Okay, see you later, Matt.
Okay.
Anyways,
see you,
now that was my dreamscape.
As he escapes from his dream. Wow.
Hey, Rye, how was walking your dogs?
It was fantastic. I had just finished I finished a very in-depth interview with Mr. Gary Wayne from the Genesis 6 Conspiracy.
From Wayne, Indiana.
Okay, I'm back.
There you go. He's back. He's back. He was on his dreamscape and now he's back.
Yeah. So
Matt
for the
Freezy.
question, it was, did you ever have mind speak, or do they use mind speak? Well, this one did, and it contacted me in a dream. But Rye, you know Joe Breezy, right?
I have seen him before. We have never really met. So hey, Mr. Breezy.
Not
Hey Joe,
officially.
how you doing?
That's his
Good,
wife.
man.
That's his wife Jen as well.
Hi Jen, how you doing?
Good.
So we
How are
were
you?
obviously right on the subject of our subject, Dogman. Somebody had asked about mind speak. I gave it to him. Real quick, since you joined us, you want to let everybody know what's going on with you?
Sure, yeah. Rye, Codegus Codex of Curiosities, dropping episodes. They're dropping them like they're hot every Thursday on YouTube, and Tuesdays as well are my audios. That's about it. And for those who don't know, I dabble in just about everything, just like Matt and JC, and we I just keep it going.
So we were on the subject. We had went through, the Cynocephaly and the island of dog-headed men, and we're going back. And I gave a quick abridged version. JC thought it would be good for me to let everyone know a quick version of my Dogman experience. And we were also talking about, the woo factor about, some of these beings, maybe possibly like Joe had brought up, maybe being, psychic vampires, like it being
energy
vampires feeding off fear, and we were kind of getting into that subject. Your thoughts on that type of thing?
Of course, feeding on fear, I think, is a huge thing. And I talk about that quite often when people talk about vampires. We always think they're just sucking blood, like you guys said, but they're energy vampires as well. And if you ever watching like TV and you're like, how the heck is that person famous on TV? Well, it's quite honestly is because you're giving them your energy, you're giving them your concentration, and in reality, time is our life pretty much, and so if you're giving away your time, you're giving away your
life.
Yeah, you're giving your life to someone. So if you're sitting there watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians or something else like that, you're feeding
Kardashians.
Yeah, exactly. I always use them because I'm like, how the hell are they, or were they famous? I don't even know because I don't watch any of that anymore.
Right, I didn't invite you to be on this deep.
I go deep sometimes. But yeah, so that's what we have, and so we feel energy vampires. They're real, and it could be, whenever you walk into a place with someone and you feel like that drain from you. We all have that. There's those people that you're just like, oh man, when I leave, I'm just like, oh, I'm so drained. Well, what do you think they're doing? They're taking your energy. Maybe they don't really even know they're doing that, but they're doing that. So it's not far to say that, these other creatures are feeding off our fear because they have, they're not taking, they're taking our energy in a different way. They're heightening our fear, kind of like an adrenochrome kind of thing, and then they're taking that from us because it gives them a high. And like there's always, and I've always mentioned this, soft disclosure or disclosure within Hollywood. You're watching a kids movie called Monsters Inc. and what are they powering up their cities with and whatnot? It's fear.
Dreams,
yeah. They go and scare the crap out of you and fill your nightmares. So these creatures definitely are filling up on a low vibration of fear is what it is. And
boom.
And I personally, like, I don't really ever talk much about this, but when I was growing up in that my one house that I kind of called my haunted house that I grew up in, there was one incident where I couldn't leave. I gotten home from work, and I know this is not Dogman, but I'm just talking about fear. I gotten home from work, and I became violently ill. It was really late, and I became violently ill. And I find sometimes when I get violently ill, it's really strange things happen, like almost kind of this instant. So I was getting sick in the bathroom, and I all of a sudden started getting this fear, the sense of fear that was so great. There's no reason to have this. And then in my mind, I start getting this this vision of a vampire type like creature that is just sitting outside in the hallway waiting for me to exit. And so I was terrified to leave. And so like it was constantly sending me these images and telling me like, yeah, come on out. And I'm terrified.
Shitter.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like I'm 19 years old. I'm not like a kid. I'm a young man.
19. He's 19 now.
and I literally, and I was living at home. I was screaming and yelling for my mom to come get me. Like, and she comes up like, yeah, good job, Rye. Gonna let your mom. If there was some sort of creature out there, you're gonna get your mom to like fight it for you or something. But she came, turned on the lights, and came and got me. She's like, oh, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, not feeling good, But yeah, so that is that's something, So these creatures definitely are feeding on vibration of fear. Yeah.
I just want to say I love my mom. Mom, if you're listening, which she very well could be, please protect me.
And I agree with you, Rye. We've gotten into, vibration and everything on the Earth has a vibrational frequency. And a lot of times, depending on certain frequencies that are going on, we have experiences with other beings. That veil is lifted or we enter their space. So that's an interesting part of it. Truth Walker asked, what if a lot of this stuff we call woo is actually normal stuff we just don't understand yet? Perhaps these creatures just understand more than we do. I agree 100%. They know a lot of them, if not, all. I don't think all do because, again, some seem to be able to do certain things like, cloak or go into a portal or not. I heard that too, Rye. And the joys of being above the street. But yeah, I agree with you, Tammy. I think that is very possible. Absolutely. What do you guys think?
I agree with that to an extent. I think we are the prime creature, at least in this dimension on this planet, right? Like we're building cities, we're doing all kinds of dumb stuff, we're doing podcasts. We're doing podcasts about the other dumb stuff that other creatures might be doing, right?
Exactly.
Oh.
Now there's some things that we just don't understand, but there are things that we do understand. Like, we talk about like the act of camouflage. They talk about them cloaking. Well, what do chameleons do? What do cuttlefish and octopuses do? They cloak themselves. And it's kind of like, oh no, there's no such a thing. Why not? We have it in nature right here in front of us. There is this kind of thing. Yeah.
And octopus are supposedly not from this planet.
They're not.
Supposedly not, but they're really delicious. If you grill
bringing
them
aliens.
I wonder how they got here. What'd you say, JC?
I said put them on the grill. They're really delicious.
No,
JC,
there's an active rye.
JC, you're causing an intergalactic. You're going to cause an intergalactic war.
I was actually going to even cause an on Earth. There's an entire campaign against eating octopus because like they're smart.
They're so intelligent.
They're so intelligent, but then they get eaten by sharks. They get eaten by other fish in the ocean. Like you're not that smart.
Well, I'm going to tell you that right here where I live,
I'm still throwing you on a grill.
Like eating octopus here in the city that I live is so common. It is extremely. You make ceviche out of it all the time.
Man, that's what it's white upper class soccer moms that are like against the octopus thing. They're so smart.
Though I do admit I do feel bad sometimes.
I mean, I feel bad about a lot of things, but it doesn't stop me from doing it. I'm still here.
I feel horrible when I'm eating real Parmesan at Villa Galactica.
You'd have to call the restaurant out.
It's amazing. It's one of the best Italian restaurants that I've ever been to.
Veal was the hardest thing. Veal was the hardest thing for me. I was vegetarian for like 6 years in college, so don't hate me. I know I went through it. I was there. I went through my phase.
When you're eating it, it's just, oh my God, it's so
somehow that seems to go together. I went to college and I was vegetarian. That always seems to have this crazy effect on people.
Because we were super smart, liberal, and we knew everything. We knew about this and that and science and the.
Agreed. Jen, do you guys make octopus at the gas station?
No.
No.
Jen is in charge of the gas station. The shirt I'm wearing is from Joe. I have two. That's from the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the actual gas station. Joe and Jen both work there. Jen is in charge of the barbecue pit.
Oh wait, what?
Yes. Oh yeah. JC popped up.
Well, I didn't know that. We're on a whole different topic now.
Yeah, from what I've been told, it's incredible, and I will be trying and sampling quite a bit of it when I get there this year.
Please continue.
You want to give a quick plug out, you guys, to the gas?
Plug it.
Yeah, so you can go to www.texasgasstation.com, and it's the original filming location for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The gas station's actually in it. I ain't got no gas. That whole piece right there. So yeah, Jen's actually, she's the pit master out there. I don't actually work there. I actually work for the same people that own it, but I work at their smoke shop. I manage their smoke shop in Bastrop. And actually they own a chain of smoke shops called the Glass House in Ohio. But so I'm more on the Glass House side, But yeah, so we always have
we hold events.
Yeah, we hold
We
events.
have actors that come out. We hold signings. We do conventions. We have cabins. You can come stay the night.
Oh, awesome!
Where's the glass
JC,
house?
you'll have to come so that we can sample her wares.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds.
And I'm
really
going to work
good.
on it because I got another buddy in Ohio. I'm going to use him as an experiment to see if I can overnight like a pound of brisket. You know, like
from the person that cooks
hold
it
on,
out. Trust me.
Wait,
Yeah, but like-
whoa, you're gonna use
No. Ignore him. Right. Block him from this.
Click. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
you're gonna-
shit! I just blocked PJ Jean again. No.
Ah, jeez,
PJ.
not again.
Yeah.
Hey, I
We don't need to bring that up.
You can
Matt,
send me.
Matt, we're never gonna let you forget that.
Right,
Okay,
shut
she's
up!
right
I'm trying to get
there.
free meat.
Okay.
He's right there. Yeah, no. I call
Joe,
first.
send me all of your
I
meat.
call first.
We're
For
blocking.
sure, Joe. You started something, man.
We're blocking
We
Matt.
will
Block
definitely
Matt.
chat him. How about this, JC? If I get them to use me as a guinea pig to send it, we will partake together. How about that?
I don't like this idea from the person that's been cooking it.
yeah,
It's
she's
not
like,
gonna be
it's not going to be
quality.
fresh. It's not going to be perfect. And I'm like, dude, 24 hours. Come on. Get a hold.
I'm coming too. Yeah.
Maybe if you it has to be really cold.
Well,
I
again,
say, yeah.
you know, guinea pig, and I will share with
It comes
JC.
off the pit. It can be cold one time for my family pass. He's like me. But I have to look at the kid to sleep, so I'm gonna go, guys. Y'all have fun.
Bye,
Nice.
Jen. Thanks for stopping. Good seeing you.
Thank
Maybe
you.
I'll send you
For sure. Good seeing you. Thanks for coming. I guess let's get the fourth question. What is natural to some of these beings is supernatural to us because we don't understand. And I agree with that comment. You know, I've said this many times. I look at the situation of, you know, like say shadow people or some specters, ghosts, or phantoms. You hear about people seeing shadow people in the corner or something like that. And yes, you get instances of them, you know, coming after people, scaring them, causing that. But I've often said, you know, because that veil is so thin in front of our eyes, there are beings walking around everyone right now. People just can't see them. I've said before, what if, like this is my thought, I've said numerous times, what if we, to some of them, are their ghosts? What if we are their shadow people? And when they see us, they're coming up on us and they're in our face because they're like, what the hell? What is that? Who is that? What is that right there? You know, I just food for thought.
It's always a possibility. Now, what should you do to protect yourself if you've encountered a dogman? I have a couple suggestions. Run faster than JC.
Not hard. I'm fat.
Yeah, or throw a ball. I don't know. No, but seriously, I don't know because I haven't had that experience. Matt, what would you say? I don't know.
What I would say is in that situation is pray, and just hope that number one, it doesn't come after you. Even if we had the opportunity to run somewhere from this creature, the way that it flew after us, there is no human being on earth, not you know, Hussein Bolt, anybody that will be able to get away from what I saw and how fast it was. That was the ultimate predator, in my opinion, and it will run you down. I don't know. You know, the only thing I guess I could say is you hear a lot of people say in bad situations with creatures or demons or whatnot, invoke the name of God and see if that helps. That's about all I could come up with.
I have to agree with Madeline, though. That comment there with Madeline.
Running could just set off the predator and say, yeah, that's true. It could.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
Matt,
yeah.
And Matt, I think you have like one of the most visceral hand-on accounts with a Dogman that I've ever heard. But would it hurt to be armed? How much does a bullet do? I don't know. Does a bullet stop a demon? Does a bullet stop? I mean, is it worth you shoot one off?
I've heard, well, first of all, we had weapons. We were so horrified we never even thought that. And at Madeline, yes, for sure. We never once thought of them. I had a 38. My other buddy had a pathetic little 25 automatic, and my other buddy had a little 22. It would have, even with all three of us shooting at it, if we could have even hit it, it would have just pissed it off. You hear experiences or stories of people that shot actually say they hit these and they laughed it off. They even like kind of looked at it like, what is that? You hear the old adage, does silver work? I don't know. I can't answer that. But then you hear the one story of Joe Barger who said that he killed one. So he used just pure copper, and it's there's no proof of anything, but you give the guy, did it happen? This is what I say to everybody. You don't have to believe me just because I ask you to. At the end of the day, you've got to make your decision. You believe what you hear, or either you don't. I don't know. Did he kill it? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, well, but with his thing, it was an eyeball shot. So what I've always heard, as far as the weaponry about it, is
it was a 45.
Yeah, but it's like a fleshy spot, or I've also heard from other accounts, waist down, because they have like same with like the Sasquatch and Bigfoot, they have like a very hardcore torso. But you look for like same with anybody, you look for the ticklish spot. Get them where it tickles. You might have a chance.
And and it very well might have happened. And if Joe did really do that, that would be the spot, a very open spot, hit behind the eye, go to the brain, maybe hit the brain. It had, and thank you, Brother Heck. Again, they were, I wish I could remember what they were. They were either critical defense, like special all copper hollow points that expanded a certain way. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've heard many experiences where hunters with huge, powerful rifle, 30-30s and up, have hit these things and they just were not affected. You look back to what happened on Skinwalker Ranch with the giant wolf that came into the camp the first day the family moved in, and the guy pumped 357. Now, that wasn't a Dogman, but it was gigantic wolf, and they pumped 357, 30-30, everything, and the thing just didn't react.
No. So here's the thing though with silver as well, because it's considered a pure metal. That might be one of the reasons why, because it's not like composed of other components, and it's just a pure metal. Now, also silver has a like antibacterial kind of effectiveness to it, but I think though that it's I would put some money on silver. I really would. I think it's it's also considered blessed as well. So when you're kind of going back to all the history, when the 30 silver pieces of coins that Judas was paid for betraying.
Silver has some that'll work. I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, Rye. If there's one that'll work with you, I would say silver as well, if it would.
That's literally why.
I just want to say hi to Ernie Davio, just popped up in the chat. What's up, Ernie?
That's literally why I have this whole
What's that
piece
third?
made out
I'm
of
sorry.
silvers. I'm like, because ever since I saw the movie Silver Bullet, and I was like,
Mm.
all right,
Yeah.
I'm getting a necklace that can at least make 6 rounds. so I always
Yeah, he
wear
made
it.
me one, and then the kid drops it down the grate, and he's just lucky enough to get it from the grate. Oh, that was a good movie. I just made my wife watch that like about a month ago. That's a great werewolf movie.
But
It-
literally going back to the energy thing, like if that is truly a factor, like I know for a fact that the the energy vampires or whatever during the 80s horror movies, they were just soaking it up, man, because we were all watching all those scary ass movies.
Howling, yeah.
Right.
American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah, man. Like all of them though. I mean, it was just like a whole The Exorcist, like all that stuff was literally just pulling, fear and adrenochrome, straight out of us, and I think that same with nowadays, now it's a jump scare thing, but it's the same as in entertainment. I believe that if these entities that derive off of energy and pull energy out of us, they do it through multiple facets. They can do it through, and that's why like movies are designed the way they are. That's why music is designed the way it is to pull different energies out of us. That's why you have the genres that you have. You have comedy, you have horror, you got rom-com, and so it's like how would you say, like a designed piece to pull different types of energies out of individuals. And for what purpose, I don't know. I mean, I wish I did, but it's just I always think about that whenever like I'm watching stuff or listening to stuff, because how like say you listen to like a one of your favorite rock ballads, man, and you just get so into it, and you're like Motley Crue or whatever. You're just so into it that you're just sweating energy basically.
Mhm.
You're just pushing it out there. And so with every reaction there's equal and opposite action, right? So
Yeah.
if you're pushing it out, something is soaking it in. Whether it's the world or, the universe, what have you. It's just for every in, there's an out.
Agreed. Real quick before we keep going on, I should have said this earlier. Hello also to our guests on pilled.net and on Rumble. I know you guys are over there too. I appreciate everybody that has come tonight. So thank you. And if you are in the chat and you have not hit the like button, please do us a favor. It helps immensely. Please, real quick, leave the chat. Just snap that thumbs up and come right back. It doesn't take you but 1 second. We would all appreciate that big time, please.
Smash
right
that
on.
like.
Smash it. Hit it. Yes.
Hulk smash.
So what do you guys think dogmen are? What is a dogman? Do you have any possible guesses?
My dad.
Mm-hmm. Sure. JC? And that would make you what then? No.
That would make me the dog.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'll answer mine real quick. I think there are multiple kinds, but Dogman specifically, not bringing in skinwalkers or other things like that. I think Dogman is not a werewolf. I think he is his own being that is always a dogman, or as we were discussing earlier, could be some other type of being, like an energy type, like the one girl from the Bray Road camp went, and there was a ball of light that was where Dogman was the day before. But I believe that you either have a natural, like being that is a human shaped dog creature, and then you have the other side of it, the woo side, where you have a being that could be from another dimension. It could be a demon dog. It could be, from some type of parallel world, or, like I said, other dimension. I think there's the two, and you have the woo and the natural.
Now, El Martino says Nephilim descent. I don't believe Nephilim descent, but I believe that they were created by that side. Maybe not necessarily Nephilim, but it could also have been the fallen angels. Yeah,
an offshoot.
Yeah, but not an offshoot, but actually because they were messing around with genetics, right? So
Yeah.
I think that could have been a possibility. Now, I agree with you. So, like, I think there is a dogman type that is interdimensional, can travel between two different dimensions, but I also believe that there's a military one too, where there's a military application where they've possibly captured these dogmen, or as a understanding, we're given some to experiment on and create their own. Then I do get into werewolves. I'm not saying dogmen, I'm saying werewolves, though, because they kind of are similar in that sense, that I believe there is something genetic within, a genetic code or marker that sometimes gets activated within us, oh, that person's an albino. Well, this person has a possibility to become a werewolf, and it's just that perfect match, and then they turn into that. And it's not like their parents were. I believe that it's just some sort of anomaly, that does occur.
Like a mutation.
Yeah, like a mutation, but that's within our genetic code, because
right.
I believe that our DNA has been messed with, and I think that it has tried to be cleaned up, but I think there's still things within our DNA that could be messed up and could actually just happen.
And again, I guess since we mentioned the werewolf, we'll mention, something of an offshoot, which is skinwalkers. They do turn into other things, but there usually is always, it seems, that one form that they like to hit all the time is like a coyote, wolf, lupine type of being that is a mishmash of a human and whatever. So yeah, and I agree with you that what I didn't mention was with the natural dog man. I agree that on that one, and tell your son to come here real quick. We gotta say hi to him. He's gone. I wanted to say hi, but I agree with you, Rye. I always talk about with the natural one. Is it government made? And I've said this numerous times. You never know if one of these supernatural ones were killed somehow. Government gets their hands on it. They start their genetic mumbo jumbo, like like Russia did in World War II with Stalin, and making the super soldiers, like the ape men. They tried, like in India, they made the monkey man. The government tried to make a super soldier, and the government here in the United States, you could get deep into. They got the technology and this, that. So far, anyone knows that it's very possible that either they got some genes from a dead one, or somehow they created one in a lab all by themselves.
Yeah, I agree. And like who was saying this, that like Anubis, El Martino was saying, Anubis, that's not a happenstance, that's not just a thing. And of course, just about in every of these pantheon type of gods that come across, there's always a dog-headed
Entity,
god of
yeah,
sort, entity,
yeah.
demigod, you know, because if we go into the Aztecs as well, there is Xolo as well, you know, and then of course Anubis. And I don't think these were actually different gods. I actually think they're the same god, just different places.
In different form. Yeah.
Even outside of like gods, like the Greeks had Cynophales, which is an island full of dog people. According
Yeah, they call
according
also
to the
call them
Greeks.
Cynocephaly. The Cynocephaly too. That they go by different names. One of them. Yeah, same thing. JC, agree with you 100%, brother. Is that
I
also?
got a Cynocephaly in high school. Oh wait, that was different. Never mind.
But Joe brought up a really good point all the way back at the beginning about the primordial stew, the primordial fear of things that we can't control. And that being, you know, at the dawn of that age, fire, wolves, cats, I don't know, whatever else, pterodactyls.
Yeah, you know, things from the sky,
that's legit.
especially.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a legit fear, even to this day.
It is, and you look at Jurassic Park. You look at the movie. I mean, they really have the ability to get from digs and get their hands on some, and who knows how much DNA in some of these finds that they have enough with whatever technology they're working with now. They always say that the government has technology that's 100 years ahead of what we know about and what we have. And they have something, maybe they're able to do stuff with DNA from back then and make, whatever from it. I just want to mention Charles V comment real quick. Silver bullets are light and tumble at any real distance other than point and shoot. Add antimony and get harder casting and better ballistics, but a 10% dilution from pure. That's interesting. I assume he's a gun guy. That's definitely some. He's either heard or thought about that one or tried it before. Boy, that's some detailed information. Thanks, Charles. Yeah, it's definitely a very deep subject. Definitely the hottest right now that people talk about. I want to move on to the subject that a lot of people have experiences and sightings of Dogman around cemeteries, Indian burial grounds. Some of the more famous ones have been around the Indian burial ground. Forget a long time ago, it was either in the late 1800s, early 1900s, a security guard around an Indian burial ground saw one digging one night, and it saw him and left. Rye, you're hurting. I saw that, Rye. It's been a long day, buddy. And the next night, the security guard came back, found the Dogman back at the Indian burial ground, and it was digging again. And when it noticed him, instead of it running, it actually spoke to him and said, Gadara. Gadara is from the Bible. That is where I believe where is the Gadara from? It is where the one city, wasn't it, that was destroyed by God with Sodom and Gomorrah? Wasn't it Gadara? JC?
Why are you calling me out on this?
I thought you know.
Maybe.
Why me?
Am I the Bible expert?
I'm pretty versed on it, and I'm lost right now. I'm pretty versed on it.
Sodom.
Go ahead and take it. Somebody from there about at least, speaking about. At least, I'm going to look it up.
So Gadara. Just hang on. Gadara was the capital of Matthew's country of the Gadarians.
The Gadarians, my favorite people.
Yeah, there we go.
Gadara in the Bible. It's a strong city situated near the river Iromax, 6 miles southeast of the Sea of Galilee, over against Scythopolis in Tiberias and 16 Roman miles distant. Joseph called it
Arimathea.
capital of Berea. But there was another meaning of it.
But they were
if
not
somebody
part of
wants to
Sodom
talk-
and Gomorrah.
If you guys want to talk about, yeah, it will definitely. I don't know if it was somebody had commented on that one time.
What
But if you
are
guys
we?
want to talk, what do you
Truth
think?
Walker saying it was the island of the dude that was possessed by a legion.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then that's what I was thinking of.
Yes.
So your guys' thoughts on why these beings are found around cemeteries, Indian burial grounds?
Dogs like bones.
Yeah. Dead people like bones, right?
I don't know. It could be just the death. They're drawn to death. Maybe. I know they're hollow grounds, but it could be just death. What's that? Sorry.
Yeah.
Or we go back to the energy factor, because those places held tremendous amounts of energy in them. And Ohio, like, y'all are chock full of freaking mounds, man. Like, straight up, like, yeah. Serpent mound. You got the mounds of the mounds of giants out there that are they're huge all over that spot, man. Ohio's I literally know I've went through it when I was on tour, but I never actually kicked it in Ohio. But I know so much about it.
Well, you haven't even. No. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
We already have plans of going.
No. Block Matt. Block him for a second.
Well,
it's just you and me, here. Joe. It's just you and me. Lamb chops on the grill, beer and wine. Come here.
Oh, that's where he's coming with it.
Now, here's another thing. What Joe brought up, he says they're attracted to, like that type of energy. What about, all the sorrow that goes along with cemeteries? That people come there and they're just, low energy, weeping, crying, like this sadness. That could be an attraction for them as well. It's like some sort of pheromones that come off.
Right. Because I always think about stuff like, Gettysburg. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
How it's like, it's so haunted because of the battle that happened. The people that died, the energy that was expelled there. And you also have one of my paranormal experiences was on a Civil War battleground as well. So it's like, if you subscribe to the fact that energy never ceases to exist and it just alters its state, then it's very well or very easily to come to the conclusion that it resonates. And if there are spiritual or supernatural pieces that can soak this energy up and use it to manifest itself, then absolutely. It'll manifest itself into something that creates energy once again for itself. So if it can scare you, then it can bring more in. If it can, bring you peace, it can bring more energy in, yada, yada, yada. But it's a vicious cycle.
It is interesting.
I remember hearing another story about why the dogmen look for or around those Indian burial mounds and cemeteries. So one of the stories out there is that they are doing that because they used to be men, however long ago, and there was a priest, the head of a church. I got to find the actual story and to tell you the detail of who and what, but the gist of it was that this myth is that this priest had cursed a man that became a dog man, and he had some type of ring or something, and he took it to his grave. And these dogmen that are stuck being dogmen, the reason they're always around Indian burial mounds or cemeteries is because they're trying to find this ring to turn back into human beings. I'll find out sometime the detailed version of that, but that was basically the gist of that one.
That's pretty
Cool.
cool.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I find that
that's definitely-
fascinating. Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that's
Hey,
fascinating
Chris,
is the fascinating thing about like white people is how much white people like to pretend that they're Native Americans.
dude.
And well, I'm getting way off topic here, but like my dad is the number one in this group of people. Like my dad actually, my grandmother on his side was 50% Kanawha from West Virginia, so she does have Native American blood. My dad pretends he's like the biggest Native American on the planet. You know, you stole my land. You came to West Virginia. You took this land. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you lived in Charleston your entire life and then migrated up here to Pennsylvania. What are you talking about?
Dude, that's funny that you say that because I was actually talking about that on my channel the other night. Because I'm Apache, you know, so like, and I'll mention it just like in by and by's, you know, I'll be like, yeah, I'm Apache, blah blah blah, and it'll literally be like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white dude, and they're like, yeah, I'm 3/4 Cherokee. I'm like, really?
That's my dad.
Because you look a whole lot of Spaniard to me.
I tried to read to you. I found where Gadara comes from. The exorcism of the Gerasene demoniac in Matthew 8:28-34, frequently known as the miracle of the Garadene, swine
And
Yeah.
the exorcism.
See you later, Mike.
Miracles performed by Jesus, according. He's leaving. You leaving?
no, you froze there. You
Froze
froze
up.
and we're like, you said and then it was just like,
So the story is in one of the miracles performed by Jesus, according to the New Testament, the story shows Jesus exorcising a demon or demons out of a man and into a herd of swine, causing the
No
swine to
swamp,
run
yeah.
down a hill into a lake and drown themselves. And the man was saying that when asked about the name of the demon, it said, "I am Legion."
Legion.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
so
Armenian.
I do know this one. So yeah, that's literally what happened. And there's some pretty cool aspects to that. Because when Christ came upon the man, he said he was possessed, and he said, we are legion. So he was possessed by multiple demons. The reason that he was cast into swine was because swine was considered an unclean animal, you know, as far as what was it, the
Judeo-Christian, yeah.
the Judeo law, right? Yeah, because I literally did that for like 5 years. I didn't I lived by Judeo law of dietary law. But so into how to go into unclean spirits go into unclean animals. So that's why it was cast, and they asked Christ for mercy, not to send them to Sheol, but to send them into the swine, which ended up dumping themselves into the river or the lake or whatever. But yeah, that was that's a good one. I literally, and I never understood the unclean spirits and unclean animals until I got into the whole Messianic Judaism aspect of my life, because I did that for, like I said, for like 5 years. And then you got to learn how to eat Taco Bell for like a week during Passover because you can't eat bread. So like year
wait a
one,
minute.
I was like,
you could have the matzah. You could have matzah.
Rye
matzah,
is
yeah,
frozen.
matzah and peanut butter.
No,
Shoot,
I'm still
man.
here. I'm still here.
Are you all right?
I'm perfectly fine just listening to you guys.
I thought you were frozen for a second. I was like, whoa, what happened to Rye?
I was frozen.
So to Carol's question, she said, weird, so you can kill a demon by drowning it. Not necessarily kill a demon by drowning it. They were put inside of the pigs, and the pigs drowned with them inside of it, which killed the demon. So,
I'm not sure if you can kill a demon.
You can't.
I have a Catholic priest that says you can.
But you can like it's yeah. So the demon then would be cast back down. You can't kill the demon though. The demon will eventually try to find its way up. But instead of like killing the person who is withholding the demon, you kill the pig that is doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't sacrifice the life of a man with a soul. You sacrifice the life of an unclean animal.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right, massacre.
But yeah, there is no killing. Yeah, there is no killing the demon. It's just going to reincarnate itself into a dogman.
Out. It's killed.
Yeah. Annie Dove brings up a great point. Demons would rather go anywhere than to the abyss. Exactly.
I agree. Yeah. So I have a question for everybody in the chat. Do you guys have any questions about dogmen, or maybe even experience? Anybody in there that maybe saw one or had an experience yourself? And if you have any questions, just throw one out there. Just remember to hit it in all caps. And again, we have a nice amount of people in here. If our guests have not hit the like button, and same with you guys at pilled.net and Rumble, hit like it, please. Hit that red pill at Pilled and Rumble, like it. And here, it only takes a second, everybody. Back out, hit that thumbs up. It helps us a lot. We'd appreciate that. Thank you, Madeline Chap. Yes, put it in all caps. Let's see here. Brother Heck saying the pigs were used for pagan sacrifices. I believe the pigs perished to avoid them getting used. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things used for pagan sacrifice. It has nothing to do with Christian culture at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's like, it's this, it's like on pagan, Christian. Oh, well, those are two totally different things.
Here's somebody
there's a commonality in it. You know what I mean?
That was just me.
At least Bruno, I saw what looked like a werewolf running along the highway at 2 a.m. Rye said it was him. And he was naked too. It was terrifying. Oh, okay. If he was naked, I'm sure. My family made fun of me and said I was probably seeing a bear running, but it wasn't a bear. Been there, accused of with my friends of you probably saw a bear numerous times when we first were telling people, like family, and yeah, that's always the first thing people say about Bigfoot and Dogman. Oh, it was a bear. It was a bear. Let's be honest. Most rational, intelligent adults, or even 14-year-olds, are old enough to know the difference between a bear
and
some king of a freaking polar bear coming after them. So, not a bear. It was bigger, and polar bears don't frequent Youngstown, Ohio. Steel.
Not normally.
No.
It was a goth polar bear.
sorry. Yeah, exactly.
Mills are black.
Now, I have a question though. So I know we don't see many other questions coming up, but if anybody has any question at all, it doesn't have to be Dogman related. Before I don't know how much longer we're going, but if anybody has any questions they want to ask anybody, Breezy, JC, Matt, or myself, by all means, you have the floor.
Yeah, have at it. Pick our brains.
Yeah.
And if you guys are done, if nobody wants to ask any questions, please just let us know, and
at the same time,
we will say goodbye.
I'm glad that I had this opportunity to speak to Breezy. You're super awesome. I'm glad to share this with you.
Man.
And as always, Rye, love you, brother.
Yeah,
and Matt, love you too.
I saw y'all on last week, and I hit Matt up. I texted him after the show, and I was like, "Dude, you got to get me on with these cats."
Yeah, hell yeah.
I could feel the what do you call it? The
vibes.
The vibes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I can gig with these dudes. Like, they seem like really cool cats, and
I agreed and told him, I said, for sure, brother. I said, you definitely would fit in with us. But, I have to call JC out. You're just being nice because you want them to send you barbecue.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
and Truth Walker, why you don't blame
you?
I mean, I like
say?
I like barbecue, but I'm inviting everybody to my barbecue.
No, I'm not
your little hibachi grill cooking out front.
Oh, well, hibachi. Yeah.
No, okay, sorry. I ruined it. I just caused everybody to die there. Yeah.
Oh God, come on.
Now, so Pam was asking, what's on the menu for next week?
So that's a good question. So why don't we do this? What we always do, everybody. Let me grab a pen.
I'm blocking
what we do every week, and Joe, we'll let you be a part of this week too. We always have a poll now that I threw up on the community part of.
That's one where I was in the chat and I was talking about the Gartha and all that.
Gadara and Agartha. Correct. Thank you. I forgot about that.
We're talking about Inner Earth. It was Agartha, and then there was Inner Earth, but it was also Antarctica.
Shambhala.
Very good. Shambhala, so what we're going to do right now is let's throw out. We need 4 because the poll on the community page only accepts 4 choices. So let's, in our group right here, throw out some ideas that maybe we'd like to tackle next week.
As much as go ahead, Breezy.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, as much as I don't like saying fabled, but I would say fabled places, of that have been lost in time, like Atlantis, maybe Lemuria, Agartha as well. We could put them all as one.
Yeah.
Okay. I dig it. One. How about you, Breezy? What's an idea out of you?
Well, I don't really have one off the top of my nugget, but I was going to pick y'all's brains because no one was asking us questions. But I was just going to ask all of y'all, what do y'all feel about that whole the Eclipse thing? Like, did y'all?
I did a whole live stream. I did a whole live stream.
We did. Keep that. All right. So keep that thought. Keep that thought for a second. Let's do this. So I saw a bunch already in the chat, winged cryptids, because you had brought that up, Rye, before, and that was in it. People mentioned gargoyle and other
gargoyles.
Winged cryptids. JC, you had mentioned the what was it?
I had mentioned the thing from West Virginia.
Mountain Mama.
That's what I was thinking in my mind too.
my brain is not working. The
in my head.
Did you get into
so Tammy and Brother Heck and the other people that actually said the winged cryptids, we'll throw those in there. And then
what was that, Breezy?
Did you get into the Jonah aspect of it?
The Jonas Brothers.
Jonah and the
Yeah,
whale.
yeah,
Jonah and the whale.
yeah, Jonah and the whale. Yeah. Did you get into that one? So
No.
yeah, it's effing trippy, man. I
Charles,
don't want
by
to
the
curse
way.
on
Thank
Matt.
you
Yeah,
very
yeah,
much.
save that.
I don't want to curse on Matt's thing, but it's effing trippy. So,
Hmm.
like, if you actually follow the path of the eclipse and the way it happened, it literally follows the book of Jonah, right? So Jonah went through whenever he was told by God to go to Nineveh, and he was told to go to there. He was like, "Nah, dude, I don't want to do it," because they actually were like enemies of him. So God told Jonah to go to Nineveh to have them repent so he could save them, because God was gonna wipe them out. So he was like, "Nah, I'm not doing it." So he went to Joppa, right, and he tried to go the opposite direction. And literally, if you start after Eagle Pass, Texas, and you start the ascent of
What am I doing? I don't know why I'm throwing this. Sorry, guys. I put the wrong banner up.
What are you
I
doing?
know what I'm doing. I've hit the wrong one. That was an accident.
Interrupting our guests. Jeez.
Sorry, Joe. I
Dang it,
apologize.
That's it. I'm not sending you any barbecue.
Sorry, bro.
That's it.
No, but
Done.
But it's weird. Like if you look at the literal line on it, it starts in one of the first cities in Texas is called Jonah, and then the next one is Joppa, and then it goes on a path all the way to Nineveh. Whenever the eclipse was aligned in the middle of Texas, it was you could literally go right through it. It's a constellation. I forget what the name is. I'll butcher it. It's like Caesarea or something, but it's considered the whale. And it's literally aligned in the belly of the whale. And that's where Jonah was in the whole thing. So, and then it goes through like 7 Ninevehs all the way up through Ohio. So there's a whole pathway where Jonah went to Joppa, went into the belly of the whale, and went all the way through to 7 different Ninevehs, like, all the way up to Ohio. So it was pretty tripped out. And if you look in Matthew 12, when Christ is talking about Jonah, he says that basically summed down that the people are being wicked and they're being unruly, and there will be no sign for them because of the sign of Jonah. And also you had what the cicada thing. So like up in y'all's area, y'all are fixing to see like these cicadas that came out. So then you kind of think it back to there's 2 cicadas that never came out at the same time, and it's supposed to be like a miniature plague type thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat them.
They taste like almonds, bro. Trust
They taste like crap.
They taste like almonds. Put a little salt on them, deep fry them. They're great.
That was very interesting. With the Ohio connection too, there, Breeze.
Yeah, but the weird part is so the last time these cicadas both came out together at the same time was during the Civil War, right? It was in like the 1800s, and I think it was 230 years ago, something like that. I did this like 2 months ago, so I'm a little off, but so during the Civil War, and what are we having right now, like pretty much in America, is this big division, a big division of ideologies and sociologies. You know what I'm saying? Breezy, why we don't see divine as much as demonic entities? My if y'all will allow me, I'll give my personal punch on that one if they're asking me a question.
Yeah, go ahead and answer, and then we'll finish up with the poll real quick.
Why don't we see divine as much as demonic entities? And this just goes back to my my belief system, and I do believe in Christ. I do believe in God, and I do believe in the Bible, not as it is written, but anyway, make a long story short, because even Christ said that the devil is the god of this world, that it's not this is not what the Father, the Creator, created for itself. Evil is taken over. So if the god of this world is the devil, then absolutely that's what we're going to see the most in his world. And it's our provision to understand that we are spiritual beings in a physical form. We're not physical beings going toward a spirit or a spiritual or a supernatural form. We're enclosed within the devil's kingdom, basically. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just my take on it. That's my personal belief, because it is like everything that we experience in this world is, you know, we have more pain than we have enlightenment. We have more sorrow than we have good. You know, there's more shite than there is bliss.
That's what we
No,
call
that's for damn sure. Yeah, for sure.
it. Cool.
That was cool. Thank you, brother, for that. I appreciate it. That was deep. Finishing with the poll, we'll get that finished real quick. So I have fabled places like Atlantis and Agartha. The second one, we're going to go back a second time for winged cryptids. I wish I could remember that too, JC. I can't remember the name. It was that one that had like the spade thing behind its neck. I had a picture of it. And gargoyles and the Mothman. That's all
Not
winged
the
cryptid.
not the Jersey Devil, right? Do we say
No, not the
No,
Jersey
no, it
Devil.
was
We're
another one.
the Flatwoods Monster.
That's what
That's
it
it.
was. Thank you. Flatwoods Monster, and I have a thing already made, a thumbnail for that. So, and the Flatwoods is on there. So for the third one, how about you guys? We have we need two more. How about some guesses from the people here? And there's still 83 people here from our guests.
Vampires.
Well, we
Carol
did
has
touch on we can do vampires. All right, we'll go vampires, and then the last one I will let our faithful extended family here in the chat decide. So go ahead, guys, start throwing out some possibilities for the poll for the last subject for next week's show. Let's start seeing them pop up.
Carol had a question, but
Abduction.
We see Fae, we see shadow people.
oh,
I
dude,
like
I got
shadow
some shadow people pieces.
I like shadow people too.
I have my own shadow person experience as well.
I got a couple of them.
Eric,
Crawler,
Eric, we
demon.
did Eric,
We
we did
did
a crawler a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
a few weeks ago. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do shadow people. That's gonna be our last one. And PG, keep that for next week, and I promise you that I'll throw that one up first for you next week. Since what I
After
did.
PG
Or
is blocked.
Banned. Yeah, ban her. Ban PJ.
Banned.
Okay.
So Breezy, if you don't know, we were trying to ban a couple trolls that were in our chat, and
well,
Matt,
we did.
but Matt accidentally banned PG.
PG, yeah.
63.
Yeah.
What it was is like the chat was moving pretty quick, and when I went to press the person I was getting rid of, she popped up in that space, and I blocked her. I banned her, so I fixed it quick.
Not too quick. Not too quick. It was like
it's an ongoing.
it was. We were all like googling how to unban. We're all googling how to unban.
How do I unban?
Yeah,
it was fixed like an hour later, and you know, they won't
You
let it
cast
go.
her into the herd of swine.
I did.
PG said that she had to actually go to my channel so that she could come in. So yes,
Well,
so that means I gained a subscriber that way. Yeah.
Thank you
But I
for
think-
coming back, Gene. I appreciate it.
That was
I
funny.
think, and you still will be getting some merch when my store is open, so don't worry. And it's going to be getting open soon, and somebody needs to help
And
me.
we will never forget, right, right, JC?
It's
You know
never
what
leaving my mind.
that I could be teased about. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's a lot worse out there I could be being teased about. So,
Yeah, we just give you a hard time.
Pamela Stefanik, she's my one new, because we started Patreon last week. She's my one.
Pam is awesome.
There. She is a new fan of Breezy. Pamela is a huge supporter of Planet 412 and of the Supernatural Town Hall session. Thank you, Pamela, for everything.
Yeah, you look
Awesome.
up Joe Breezy channel, and you'll see a ton of them. But the one I got, you'll see a black and white skull and crown. That's me. But yeah, when I started my name, like I was saying earlier, when I started my name, there's no Joe Breezes in the world other than some DJ from California or something. But now I look for my own stuff, and I'm like, dude, there's like 85 Joe Breezes. Like, what the hell is going on here? That was my stage name.
I'm looking for it right now for you.
I actually couldn't find the channel. I just was looking. I just found one of your videos. Not actually, sometimes they show you the channel. This is the channel. I actually saw one of the videos, so I was able to click on that. So that was
Oh yeah. Now so I did music for like 20 years. So there's like this whole it's called SHSM, or Southside Hatchet Swinging Mob, and there you go. You got him. It looks like film or film.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, I just posted it in our chat there, Matt. I posted it in the chat there.
What it looks like too.
No problem.
So
yeah, he's got it. And I appreciate that, man.
And everybody, give Joe a subscribe, please. Help him out. Yeah. So, I guess if anybody doesn't have anything else that they wanted to talk about or bring up, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. We had a great group of people here tonight. We had a great turnout. Thank you to all of you. Again, real quick before we shut it down, if you have not hit that like button, please hit it real quick. It only takes a split second. On Planet 412, you're going to be getting more stuff this week, more different format videos, and I've got some really big surprises coming up in the next week. You'll see some new stuff very soon. Please check out my Patreon. I do have memberships through YouTube, but I'd like to try and steer everybody towards Patreon if possible. I've got some links you can check out if you want to help support the channel on the title area of Planet 412. And thanks to my wife Stacy for modding. These guys, we're all the mods too. So when we're doing, so thanks to my buddies. Thanks to you to everybody that donated. Hold on, real quick to Brother Heck, to Sunny Cat 85, Charlie V, and Twirl Pros, and Brother Heck. I didn't get that one up, so I wanted to show that real quick. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Everybody, thank you. So other than that, I'm going to turn it over to whoever wants to let everybody know about what they're doing and what's popping up.
Go ahead, JC.
Guess I'll kick it off. So Sasquatchers Monday, we released a new episode yesterday. It was Flash of Beauty, the Sasquatch documentary. And Fridays at 11 a.m. we are doing Far Out Folklore. Check it out. We got good stuff going on and more to come.
Is that like the Sasquatch with like mascara on?
One
Flash
sec,
of
everybody.
Beauty.
Guys, one
That's
second.
hilarious. No,
Joe, hold on one sec, buddy. I just want to thank Truthwalker, Tammy. She also is a moderator. So I wanted to thank her too. I had a mind fart. Sorry. And sorry, yeah, that Flash of Beauty is actually a really cool movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Right on. Rye, Codega's Codex of Curiosities. If you got some time to blow, step on over to my channel and watch some of my videos. I got some great interviews. The one that I just dropped last Thursday is smashing it right now. It's probably one of the highest strangeness experiences I've ever heard in my life. That being said, tonight I just interviewed Gary Wayne, so expect that in about a month and a half time. I drop episodes every Thursday and a couple here and there, and of course the live streams here on Tuesdays. And I'll be dropping. I think I'm building up too much of a stock of interviews, so I'm going to drop an extra one here soon as well. Maybe on a Sunday
did that
or something.
too. Hey, I did it too, and then you realize you have 7 or 8 interviews to edit, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah. So I'm just going to drop that one. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Breezy.
No, do y'all like actually? Because I just do lives. So do y'all actually? And I'm asking this like student to teacher kind of a thing. Do y'all actually pre-record and do the interviews all like that?
Mm-hmm.
I would say
that's what I
90%.
prefer.
Trim the fat.
Yeah.
90% of mine are pre-recorded. 10% are lives.
That's why there's no. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what I prefer too, Breeze. So for me, when I do interviews, like if you check out my newest interview on Planet 412 with the Thibodeau brothers from These Woods Are Haunted episode, what I like about it is you can edit anything wrong with the interview, and then you can throw cool like maybe pictures or video up, maybe some sound, and then you really make it yours. So
right.
I'm a huge fan of that. But I have done interviews on live streams too. I prefer pre-recorded.
Yeah, and
JC,
I agree with you, Matt, on that with adding of videos, because I had my last interview prior to Gary here. He provided me with a lot of material after the fact, and so then I just was throwing up pictures of the things that he had seen, and he just had these drawings. So he's still talking, but I just overlay it over top of us, and it was easy.
That makes sense, dude. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
A lot of people do that.
You, JC, what do you think?
Oh, I think Breezy, you haven't been on our podcast yet, and I think you should come on because I think we have some energy here.
Yeah, dude, I'm down, man.
Talk about. I'd love to have you on the Sasquatchers podcast, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm. Matt's got my info. I mean, if you got his phone number or whatever, yeah, text
I'll
him and then
send it to you,
yeah, we'll
JC.
talk
No
about
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I mean, I love doing it just for the love of doing it. I got homies that are like, you're just trying to be a content creator. And I'm like, nah, I'm really not. It's for the love of doing it. So
Sure.
I give no F's. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice on you, Matt. I give no F's. But yeah, I'm
Joe
down.
does a
I'm
great
totally
job,
down.
man.
Cool.
You'll have a great time with him and Andrew. What happened to Andrew tonight, by the way?
I think it's just a bad night for him with like his kid with the softball and that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's
Okay.
just torn.
He said he wasn't feeling well either.
Yeah, he was sick this week too. So
I just
Gotcha.
realized how big me and Jen's heads look. That's crazy.
Oh, Jen looks great. I don't know about you, Breeze.
Yeah, no, she's hot. I'm ugly. Whatever. It helps me out.
Well, you must not be that bad. That's your girl. So, hey, I just wanted again to thank everybody in the chat. Thank you for coming by. And before you leave, hit that like button. Support all these channels. I want to thank JC. Thank you, brother, as always. It's been a blast. Rye, I'm happy as hell that you made it. It was a joy to see you. And of course, my ninja, Joe, my man. I'm glad you got to come by, man. I had a blast with you. And as always, Jennifer, it is always a pleasure seeing you. Thank you for coming by. And we will be doing this again. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Absolutely. One love. God bless.
God bless.
And we will see everyone later.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it greatly helps out the channel. I'll see you next time on Planet 412.